Do you want me to go?
No.
Then why did you bring her?
If God gave you a second chance at life, would you go back to fix past regrets or start a whole new chapter? Every evening at dusk, Charlie practices baseball with his younger brother Sam, but today his girlfriend Tess invites him to a rowing competition. Charlie's dream has always been to join a rowing race, but leaving means he'll break his promise to Sam. A brutally hard choice is staring Charlie right in the face. He can't let go of his brother because he once watched Sam die right in front of him. To see Sam again, he stayed here for 5 years, showing up every dusk without fail. And he doesn't want to turn Tess down either, because she's the one he loves, asking him to do what he loves most. He doesn't want to lose anything, but he has to choose, and it's driving him insane. But here's the even crueler truth. Sam is already dead, and Tess, standing behind him, isn't a living person either. It's only at the very end that Charlie finally understands the truth. What exactly did Charlie go through? Does he really have the ability to see spirits, or has he lost his mind? In today's video, we're breaking down the movie story, and at the end, we'll answer the questions you've been asking. The story begins with a sailing race. Brothers Charlie and Sam control their sailboat and beat one opponent after another. Because of this, Charlie gets a sports scholarship for gifted athletes at his graduation ceremony. Charlie isn't just an amazing athlete, he's also a top student, and he gets into the famous Stanford University. His classmates cheer for him from the audience. As school is about to start, Tess tells him that she and Green are heading to a naval base next week and asks Charlie to come to their goodbye party. Charlie agrees without even thinking, but on his way to the party, Charlie gets stopped by his little brother. Sam is a little upset that Charlie's ditching him, so he asks Charlie to drive him to a friend's house to watch a baseball game first. Charlie isn't thrilled, but he lets Sam into the car anyway. He never imagines that this one decision will haunt him for the rest of his life. On a dark country road, the two brothers keep messing around with each other. Even though Sam keeps complaining about Charlie, the mood between them is still pretty light, until a truck comes barreling down the road and crushes their car like a toy. Right before he passes out, the last thing Charlie sees is his brother Sam's face. The crash is brutal. Both Charlie and Sam's hearts stop several times. In the end, Charlie somehow comes back to life, a miracle, but his brother Sam's life is frozen forever on that day. Charlie shows up at Sam's funeral, and seeing his lively little brother reduced to a cold tombstone, he can't accept it. He runs like crazy into the nearby woods, but when he looks up again, there's his brother right in front of him. Charlie doesn't know if it's Sam's ghost or just his imagination, but he'd rather believe that Sam never died that night. He just got lost in the woods. Sam tells him he's late. Sam is a kid who loves baseball. He dreams of becoming a pro player one day. To keep his brother's dream alive, Charlie naturally becomes Sam's practice partner and promises to spend an hour every day playing catch with him.
Meet here. Every day at Sunset Cannons.
Promise?
I promise.
To keep that promise, Charlie gives up his spot at Stanford. His beloved sailboat collects dust in the garage. He even takes a job as a groundskeeper at a cemetery. 5 years pass. He's still holding on. Every day after dusk, he shows up on time in the woods to play with Sam. This goes on until he meets a girl at the cemetery. Her name is Tess. She's visiting her father's grave. A little mishap happens and the two have a brief encounter. They'd actually seen each other before at a rowing race. Back then, Charlie was standing on the award podium and Tess was quietly watching him. Later, Charlie goes to buy a toy at a supermarket and runs into a friend by chance. Takes the initiative and invites Charlie to hang out. Charlie leaves with the toy and heads to the familiar woods. He throws the baseball and Sam catches it easily. For 5 years, he's come here every single day, just like when they were kids, playing with his brother until late at night before going home. One afternoon, Charlie runs into Florio, the nurse who saved him at a coffee shop. They sit down and have coffee together. Florio feels bad about how Charlie is living now and tries to encourage him to move on from the past. But Charlie has built a huge wall around his heart. It's not something that can be broken down overnight. On his way home, Charlie walks alone down the street. He sees Tess, the girl he once beat in a sailing race. But 5 years have passed, and now Tess has won the championship and is about to set off on a world tour. Meanwhile, he's become more and more ordinary. Charlie quietly leans on a railing, watching Tess surrounded by admirers in the distance. A strange feeling suddenly rises in his chest, and his mind starts getting a little fuzzy again. That night, Charlie pulls out the sailboat blueprints he drew years ago. Staring at the boats docked at the pier, his mood sinks even lower. Just then, his coworker Al drags him to a party, but Charlie, feeling down, punches a guy who tries to toast him at the bar. People start whispering behind his back about how Charlie might be mentally ill.
After leaving the bar, Charlie runs into Tess at the pier. They talk about Charlie's glorious past and Charlie shares his treasured sailboat blueprints with Tess. They talk until sunrise. Tess has to leave for her race, and Charlie watches her sailboat slowly drift away. After Tess leaves, Charlie's life seems to go back to normal. Mowing lawns, chasing ducks out of the cemetery, then heading deep into the woods to meet the spirit underground. Until he sees Tess again, except this time, it looks like she has a wound on her forehead. Charlie cleans it up for her, Looking at a photo on the table, Tess brings up Charlie's brother, and the two of them seem to grow a little closer. And just like that, they start dating. They eat together, take walks, and sail together on the water. Every time Tess leaves, she leaves him a note. Charlie finds it a little odd, but maybe it's just Tess's unique way of showing love. Late one night at the cemetery, they kiss. As their feelings grow deeper, Charlie slowly starts coming out of his dark place. He spends less and less time in the woods visiting Sam's spirit. One day, Tess asks Charlie to join her in a rowing competition. Charlie suddenly realizes he's late, so he rushes to the woods. The moment he steps into the forest, his brother starts questioning him.
I could feel you forgetting me.
Oh, Sam.
Without you, I feel myself start to disappear.
At the same time, Tess shows up and tries to get Charlie to leave with her. Now Charlie is facing an impossible choice. He can't bring himself to break his promise to Sam. It's an obsession he's held for 5 whole years. So he says no to Tess.
You didn't die in that car crash, Charlie.
Actually, I did.
Tess is hurt. Charlie is hurting too. He knows damn well that Sam is dead. But 5 years of stubborn devotion have trapped him like a cage.
Tess leaves, and Charlie numbs the pain with alcohol. He might have just kept spiraling, until one day he hears some unbelievable news at a bar.
We've got a boat missing out of Quincy Harbor.
Whose boat?
Tess Carroll's boat. She was out sailing during the storm 3 days ago.
Suddenly, Charlie realizes something crucial. If Tess went missing at the harbor 3 days ago, then who the hell has he been spending all this time with? And what's even crazier, that Tess is standing right outside the window. How can someone who vanished in a storm be standing perfectly fine outside a window? Charlie chases after her, until he finds Tess shivering cold in front of a gravestone. There's a clear wound and blood on Tess's forehead, even though Charlie had just bandaged it up not long ago.
Charlie, I'm gonna call. I'm scared.
Voices echo in Charlie's mind. Then, after he yells Tess's name, she suddenly disappears on the spot. Charlie goes back to his room and tears everything apart. He can't accept Tess vanishing. He almost goes insane until the nurse's voice echoes in his head again.
God just doesn't show off. There's gotta be a reason. God gave you a second chance.
And he finally snaps back to reality. He decides to go out to sea again. He practically storms up to a boat, takes it by force, and sails toward the direction Tess went. He's absolutely certain Tess is still alive, and he's the only one who can save her. Tink, a guy at the boatyard, doesn't get it at all, and says something really important.
You didn't even know her, St. Cloud. How could you possibly know what she would have done?
The sailboat circles the area but finds no trace of Tess. Soon it's dusk, the time when Charlie is supposed to be in the woods playing baseball with Sam. But tonight, he's going to break his promise, because he has another promise to keep cut. To Sam, who's been waiting in the woods, isn't mad at all. Instead, he walks out of the forest. Charlie sees Tess' boat. He strips off his clothes and dives into the water, swimming into the sunken cabin. Deep inside, a voice keeps guiding him. He searches the whole cabin and finds nothing. Finally, on a reef, he finds Tess, unconscious. Tess is alive. Charlie presses his chest against hers to keep her warm, and they make it until help arrives. After being rescued, the two become a real couple. Charlie goes to the woods to say a final goodbye to Sam. And then, under the bright sun, Tess takes Charlie's hand and they walk out of the forest together. A new life is about to begin. Now Charlie is no longer trapped by the past. He's actively embracing the future. This film is based on Ben Sherwood's novel of the same name. It came out in 2010 and took about 2 months to shoot. Its 6.46 rating isn't exactly high, and even the Boston Globe's review was pretty forgettable. Honestly, it's not really about family or love. It's about self-redemption through regret. Look closely, and you'll see Charlie can't actually see ghosts. Because besides his dead brother Sam, he also had conversations with a Tess who didn't exist. Tess survived in the end, which means the Tess Charlie saw wasn't her ghost. Maybe Charlie went crazy the day of Sam's funeral. The brother he saw wasn't Sam's ghost. It was a split personality, a version of himself that couldn't handle Sam's death, so it turned into Sam's form. And Tess is like another personality, one that guides him to leave the past behind and become his old self again. In the end, Charlie goes from Sam to Tess, meaning he's finally fully moved on.